Oh my goodness. That is your official, we are beginning now. And welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. We have a special treat. This is our final day of our special edition virtual education. And what better way to end the week with other than with someone many of us know that's near and dear to our hearts, and that's Mr. Dennis Aw. And today we have a special treat because not only is he broadcasting out of our village's location, but he's got, I think, a small live audience there. I can't see behind his back there, but I heard some people talking earlier. So I'm sure if he starts talking behind his back or to his right, he's not talking to himself. He's actually talking to people. I just want to make sure you guys are all aware of that. Although, do you do that sometimes, Dennis? Anyway.
Yes, that happens, yes.
So we've got a special, he's going to do a special education with you today, and we got a special announcement to make too near the end.
Big one.
So stay tuned for that. And he's going to open up with a number here, and then he's going to go right into his education, and then I'll pop back in towards the end. And then Dawn is your camera gal and engineer and Zoom tech. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dennis Aw, and you should be spotlighted now. And Dawn, you can go ahead and keep him on the gallery view if you'd like, please. Take it away, Dennis.
Okay, it's showtime. I'm going to play a song for you now. Rockabye Your Baby with a Dixie melody. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Now, we're going to do some really cool things today. I have a couple of stories, but it sets up what we're going to learn, okay? Now, in the real world, the melody normally stays pretty much the same. If Frank Sinatra was singing a song, no matter what orchestra he'd have accompanying him, Frank Sinatra is Frank Sinatra. Elvis is Elvis. Connie Francis is Connie Francis. Barbra Streisand. They stay the same. It is the orchestration that changes. And we are blessed. We've got unbelievable orchestrations in here. And I'm going to show you how you can really utilize them to sound fabulous. without learning one new chord, no scales. Okay? So first of all, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the song everybody had to play, The Saints Go Marching In. Now, if you're playing The Saints Go Marching In and you looked at your music, it's a quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, whole note, tied. That's your easy play. And if you bought a regular piece of piano music, it's going to be quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, whole note, tied. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Nobody would sing it that way. But that's the way it's printed and it looks good. So if we were doing it that way, just listen. Now that's technically correct, but it doesn't have a life, doesn't have that sparkle in it. So listen to this, okay? On all happy music, so if you're looking at your metronome from about 120 on, okay, 120 to 150, 160, you only hold a melody note long enough to pronounce the word. That's it. Oh, when the saints off. Go marching in, off. So let's do it that way now. And the melody is going to sound pretty good. All right? The background is going to sound average. Listen. Okay? Now, by utilizing a fancier background, here's a line for you to remember if you're writing things down. Happy songs, number one, hold the note just long enough to pronounce the word. Number two, the simpler the song, the fancier the background. That's important. So let's just change the background and see what it sounds like. Now let's make it fancier. Let's turn on alter style. So if you have that button, that's another way of taking that same rhythm and making it fancy. Here we go. So that was just staying with one background. But let's go and take a look and notice on so many of these instruments you have multiple choices. So all you have to do is try it with one or two of others and see, is there a background that fills in the song better? Okay. So let's see what we got over here. Let's add harmony if you have AOC, or 4-part, or 5-part, or a block. Put it on. Now, in the old days, world show business and the big bands, and I played with a lot of them, okay, we used to use the echo fill. And if you were off a note for a long time, 4 or 5 beats, you could play this first group of notes again. So just imagine if Louis Armstrong was going, "Oh, when the Saints," then the band could stand up and they'd sing it back, "Oh, when the Saints." Now, to do that for the intermediate and the advanced, because this is something for everybody, okay? You don't have much time, it's a short echo. Okay, so choose your backgrounds, all right? Now, if you say, "Dennis, I'm just starting out. I'm not going to be comfortable changing octaves, changing keyboards and that. Anything else I can do?" Yes, hit your foot switch. Or come over here and hit the FX button, okay? All right. So let's change the tempo. I'm going to increase it just a bit. It's got some personality, and that's just simple songs. Now, utilizing the harmony and the alter style and the foot switch, now it really becomes super full. right, now we have the same. Let's take another song. Here's a song about 20 years later in time, All of Me. And we're going to do the echo. Here we go. So now, for our first part, I thank you. Without adding in any new chords, no fancy scales, you can take a song and add a sparkle, a life, a drive, a happiness, okay? So the magic is, once again, for happy songs, only hold the note long enough to pronounce the word. Number two, the simpler the song, the fancier the background. You want to make it super fancy? You put on alter style. Okay? Yeah, I don't have alter style, Dennis. Touch the FX button or push the foot switch and push it to the right, and you'll have all of the backgrounds. Okay? Some of you that have the big organs at home, I can put it over here on my touch bar. Okay? The object is, listen, you've kept the melody 100% accurate. Everybody knows the song. By playing staccato, everybody can hear the rhythm, including you. If you can hear the rhythm, you can feel the rhythm. If you feel the rhythm, the music comes alive. And that's what you want, okay? There's that. And you have an expression pedal. When the band is playing, Phil, give it a little bit of a nudge. And that's the real world of music. Let's say I was playing something slow now, okay? You can use the echo fill for slow music. Listen. Okay? So that's a little trick, the echo. Now, to be perfectly honest, you don't want to use it all the time. It's going to be like, is that the only thing you know how to do? Okay? So you just put it in a couple times and say, hey, this is really cool. This is it. All right? So now I think so that's your happy music. If I was playing Hello Dolly, if I was playing Mame, well, let's do it. Do you see? It's a technique that will work through many different generations of music. Really cool. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a story, but if you remember the story, you're going to have the answer to how to do it. Okay. Years ago, Lowry had an artist, and his name was Eddie Baxter. And Eddie Baxter played with the big bands. And almost all of the recordings that Henry Mancini did, it was Eddie who was playing the organ, okay? Not necessarily on all of the records, but all of the movies and that. Okay. His wife, Marty, was a singer and a musical arranger and also played the organ. Okay. And now, a sad part of the story. Marty was a great singer, and she was putting together a group. She knew the Andrews sisters, and they had told her, okay, because they had a couple of her arrangements that she did for them, that they had more work than they could handle. You put a group together, and what we can't do, you can do. So she did. But unfortunately, she contacted polio, and she was one sick lady. But God came in and healed so much of her. She didn't need the machine anymore. But she couldn't hold a note long, okay? But she could arrange. So this trio that she was working with is not going to work out. Well, two of the members of the trio she picked decided to get married and not travel on the road and sing. The other one, get a load of this part of the story, wanted to become famous, wanted to be able to sing songs different than anybody else, that when she sings something, they're going to know exactly who it is. So Marty and her worked together. Now, that Marty is the one that's telling me the story. Later on, when I tell you the lady's name, I met her, we talked during dinner and all about this. Okay. She decided, of all the different music that was going on in the 1950s, the early 50s, the one type of music that they didn't really have a major female star yet was country. You had Hank Williams, you had Eddie Arnold, but you didn't have the other country stars, the ladies, yet. She wanted to be the first. And she wanted to sing the song that would be so unique. And she did. Now I'm going to tell you the lady's name, Patti Page. And the song that made her famous was the Tennessee Waltz. To this day, if somebody is singing a country ballad, they're going to do this effect, okay? So now I want you to watch what I'm going to do, okay? I got my finger here. I got two fingers, okay? Let's make believe this is a black note, and that's a white note. Now, what all the other singers did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and early 50s, they always sang the note perfect pitch. So what she was going to do was to sing it almost perfect and slide into it. So when I do this, I have my finger on the black note, and I'm going to slowly slide it down, and it's going to touch the white note. So look, the black note is here. Here's the white note. When I do this, my finger is going to be touching the white and the black note together for a second. So it's going to be the black note smearing into the white note. Now, when you practice this, you have to be on the edge. Do not do the top of the key. It won't work. It's the edge so you can slide. Listen. Boots Randolph. did you notice I could slide up or I could slide down? That was her style. And it is absolutely beautiful. So look at the keyboard. I want to do it one more time, then I'll play another song, okay? But just watch. When you practice this, if it sounds like this, that's wrong. It has to smear in. Okay? So in other words, even though it's kind of fast, okay, it is slow enough that you can hear the two sounds at the same time. Okay? Pretty? Now I'm going to play another song for you. This is Melody of Love. Okay. That's the Zamfir flute. Oh, on the other song, when I had the vocal on, it was Bob, B-A-H. That's the sound that I had. So on your slow, pretty songs, you don't have to use it as much as I'm doing it right now. But if you do that, especially if the word is love in the song, honey, all those pretty words, that's absolutely perfect. It takes about 10, 15 minutes to get relaxed being able to do that. And going up, going down. But a great song to learn it on is the Tennessee Waltz. And if you have the phone and you can get some of the recordings, listen to her sing it, okay? That's really great. So that's a little something I learned from Marty Baxter, okay? And it's absolutely perfect on thousands of songs. Now, before we went on camera, with the audience we had here, we were chatting a little bit, and we were talking about different organists. And the name that came up right away was Lenny D. He was a great friend, great friend. And I told them, and I tell you too, if you go on your phone and the YouTube, and you pick up Lenny D and Dennis Orr, you'll see us play some duets together, okay? Now, here's a little bit of the story. Lenny D and I went on several tours together. And I always wore my the Liberace fancy coats, and he had his country coats that he would wear. And he would say, okay, Dennis, let's change. I'd like to wear your coat. And I'd say, I'd like to try yours. When we did that, then when he played the organ, he played like me. And when I had his coat on, I played like him. Okay? The audiences loved it. Okay? So did I. Okay? But Lenny D had to show me how to do Lenny D. Okay? And I just showed him a little bit how I played. He picked it up in seconds, you know. Well, one of the simple things of Lenny D, because he was a great, great musician, he could play unbelievably complicated songs, but he always played songs that you recognized the melody and you enjoyed it. He wanted to entertain you, not impress you with what he had learned, okay? So one of the first thing he showed me, he said, I'm gonna show you my hiccup or stuttering. Okay? What's that? He said, well, if you were going to stutter and you were going to say the 5'2", you go 5'2". It's all blue. He said, so what I do, I stutter with my finger. I'll hit this melody note that's only supposed to be played one time, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. If I got a whole measure, I'll just keep on hitting it. Hit it in time, okay? So let me show you that. We all know the song 5'2". That's the song that he showed it to me on. So here we go. It's written like this. Hear that echo? If you have some of the Lowry organs and you got over here the bank presets, B9 and B10, it's the two Lenny D sounds that he used on his records a lot, okay? So instead of, it's going to stutter. Okay, now I'm doing it a lot. You don't have to do it on every note, but it's to teach you how to do this. Isn't that cute? Yeah. So I'm looking over a four-leaf clover. It's really, really, really cute. And now let's say, Dennis, I just thought out, I don't have a B9 Lenny D. Okay? It will work with any sound and use a Dixieland type background. Put a clarinet on, put a trumpet on like that, and it becomes kind of a jazzy Dixieland, okay? But if you've got that B9, give it a shot, okay? Now, another story for you. And this has a lot to do with kind of like the country. Okay. I did some conducting. My teacher from Radio City was Mildred Alexander. She was the first lady organist there. Okay. Her husband's name was Jack Lacey, and he played first trombone with Andre Castellanos, and he also was the rehearsal conductor. And he taught me how to conduct an orchestra and a big band. Many times when he couldn't get a job, he would tell him, I'm sending person over, and it was me. And I got to conduct several Broadway shows, nightclub shows. It was really great. Now, do you know the name Sergeant Bilko? You know that? Okay. Phil Silvers. So here's a Phil Silvers story for you. Phil Silvers was a classically trained clarinetist. Unbelievable. And he started to work playing in orchestras during the vaudeville and sometimes the burlesque days. Okay. He had an unusual sense of humor. It was kind of pointed and hard. But if you weren't the person he's talking about, you'd laugh, okay? So anyhow, he didn't like the conductor, and they're doing a burlesque vaudeville type show. And he insulted him, and the way he did it, the orchestra laughed and laughed and laughed. Well, he got fired. But the stage manager heard him, okay, and said, we had a situation earlier this morning, and our MC that introduces the acts quit. So we need somebody. And whatever you're being paid, I'll pay you 3 times as much. And so this was the beginning of Phil Silvers not wanting to be a musician, but getting into comedy. Okay? Now, Phil Silvers is on Broadway many, many years later. I get the call, go down, show Do Re Mi. So I'm there during the Wednesday afternoon matinee, okay? I can read the music and all that, but you want to hear the show exactly as it's being done. And so there's a show Wednesday night, which I'm going to be there, and the afternoon conductor's still going to be there, and he'll sit in the chair beside me, make sure things are perfect, okay? I didn't leave the theater. But while I was in the theater, between the shows, I heard this fabulous clarinet music. So I just wanted to find out who's doing it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm walking down the hallway, and they had the stars on the room. Phil Silvers, the doors open, heard the clarinet, and I went in. And it was Phil playing the clarinet. Okay? It was magnificent. Listen. He had a galvanized garbage pail between his legs. He had his clarinet in the garbage pail while he played. What the garbage pail did was create an echo, like us singing in a closed shower stall. It was an echo. And he also bent the sound. And he played a song at that particular, it was summertime, and he played a couple others, and we got to know one another, okay? But that's what he did. We all have a clarinet sound, okay? And you play blues, which is slow big band, or you might even have a button that says blues, okay? But you take what I showed you before, and it's even a little slower, summertime. So you're going to do that with the slide. Got that on. Okay. And what I did is I added some extra reverb. If you don't have reverb, a little extra sustain. That's the garbage pail and the echo sound. Okay. Now I'll put on a whistle. Harry James, Basin Street Blues. This tempo was faster than the others, so you don't have as much time to slide. But he did that too. I'm accenting a lot for you. Everything that you do, you judge by your hearing. You will know whether it needs to be a little faster or a little slower. And speaking of tempo, take the tempo control on your instrument and move it to where it's going to be perfect, even if it's a little slower than what you want, okay? But once you have it perfect and you repeat it, it becomes natural and it becomes absolutely fabulous, okay? So we got that. Now, I know there's a lot of new people that are watching this that I haven't met or played before. One of the types of music that I've always loved, Hawaiian music. Maybe you're old enough to remember Halaloki from the Arthur Godfrey show. I got to do some shows with Don Ho. Okay. Found out some things when I was doing recording. So I just want to share this with you. In Hawaii, not in the States, okay? In Hawaii, they generally tune the steel guitar in F sharp. And it sounds so much better, okay? If I was playing the Hawaiian wedding song and the key is C and my transposer is in C, it sounds like this. But if I put it in F sharp, the Hawaiian guitar has sustain already added into it. So you can hit this note kind of staccato and it will be beautifully faded. I did not use in the melody the glide pedal yet, okay? Now watch this. Hit it before the note and release it. If you play a chord, roll it. You can't play a chord like this On a steel guitar, you play one string at a time. And most of their songs, it's two-note chords. Echo. And if you are the intermediate advanced, a great way to end the song is play the chord one note at a time, like this. Spell out the chord, okay? We have a little bit of Hawaiian there. All right, so for a little bit of a review, and we got a little bit more, okay? The personality of the song is dependent upon how you play the melody. Happy songs, hold down the note just long enough to pronounce the word and have a fancy background. Now, if you're playing a busy song, I'll be down to got you in a taxi, honey, better, then you don't use a fancy background. Then you use a plain background. I mean, that's the way it works, okay? And if you really want to jazz it on up, hit your alto style, okay? But don't be afraid to go through a lot of different rhythms to see which one works. Now, I got something that just wild, okay? Here we go. Two wild things for you. The first one, there is a rhythm in all of these instruments, okay, that will make any song absolutely unbelievably beautiful and exotic, any 4/4 song. And do you know what that is? It's your rumba begin, because there's no boop bops, anything from the orchestra. It's beautiful. It's exotic. It is great. So if I came over and I hit Latin, rumba, who would think of the sound of music as a rumba? Autumn leaves. So no matter whether you have a small, big one, whatever size you got, okay, Latin can take a nice song and make it very exotic sounding, okay? It's a great, 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 great rhythm, okay? Some of you might have disco, okay? And, you know, what type of song can you play with disco? And when I tell you you can play some patriotic songs with disco, you're going to think I'm crazy. But let's listen, all right? There we go. Let's see, rock. Slow it up. try that sometime. Okay? Isn't that pretty cool? Well, our hour has just about flown by, But I promised you there'd be some really, really cool news. It's great news. It's what we need, what we want, what we desire, what the world is getting ready for. Okay? Flesh and Music is going back to the big outdoor type programs with different artists, just absolutely magnificent events. Now, there's going to be one coming up really soon, and I'm lucky enough I'll be the first one to start it. With concerts, okay? And I'll be doing my Vegas show there for you. And if you enjoyed this type of learning, you're not going to believe what we're going to do. But everything comes down to getting the joy of music in our hearts and in our ears, in our mind, every day. And so by sharing, every different artist plays differently. Well, the teachers, each one has their own little things. Now, quick little thing, Diane and I, we took from the same teacher. We learned the same things. We play totally different. I play what I like. She plays what she likes. So by getting this experience, all of a sudden you'll say, I hit a gold mine. So we're going to have some absolutely fantastic times right around the corner. So you keep your ear ready to get that phone call and the information of what's going to be happening. But it's going to be really soon, really big, and super first class all the way. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you there. Robert, you got something?
Yes, I'm going to add to that. And just to give you guys a little bit more information so you can register, this is what you're going to get a flyer in an email or snail mail over the next few days, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. And this is what the flyer is going to look like. A Day of Music with Dennis Awe, America's #1 concert artist, voted Keyboard Entertainer of the Year, Pop Organist of the Year, and it's got a lot of great information on here. But you're going to notice this one here is for Port Charlotte. Their date is locked in. We are in the process of scheduling all the dates. I'll give you an idea. The Florida dates will be between the 21st and the 25th. As we're scheduling the outside venues, we're going to mail out the flyer and email the flyer. Port Charlotte happens to be scheduled, and it's only going to be $23 per person. That includes tax, and you're going to get, obviously, we're going to feed you a lot. We're going to give you continental breakfasts, lunch, desserts, but you're going to get 2 concerts, 2 workshops, prizes, and much, much more. So if you like what you heard today, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, if you don't know what the dates are, you can still register. Just block out those dates, pay for it, find out where it's at later. Now, I know some of you are out of state. If you want to travel, you're more than welcome to join us. There's nothing wrong with that. I've seen and heard it done. But we have, if Florida dates will be the 21st to the 25th, the Arizona dates will be somewhere in the range of the 29th to the 31st. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact one of your PAs and we can give you some more information on that. So this was a blast, and I took a lot of notes and I was like, oh gosh, what did he say there? What did he say there? If you have to go back and watch it, over the next few days, don't forget, this is being recorded and it's going to be available on our Patreon site. So I'm going to go back. I learned something new today. In 28 years, I learned something new about the Hawaiian guitar that I never heard. So that was pretty clever. If you get one thing out of this, it's great. I got like a bunch of things from you today. So thank you so much, Dennis. Dennis is going to close off with a little number here for you, a big number.
I got to tell you, I want to do one thing extra. I want everybody to know that you'll be able to ask me any question you want at this event, okay? Anything about any playing, any style, okay? And when you're having a breakfast and all that, I'll be walking around, okay? And
now, when you say any question, Dennis, you mean anything question about
yes,
the organ business stuff? Okay. So we don't
I'll
want
give
to
you his
know.
phone number. It's okay.
Okay.
She wants your phone number. There we
Because
go.
I had a student type in the text what kind of underwear these were, and I said, this is not the time for that, ma'am.
So what we're going to do now, the number I love to end with, the Bear Barrel Polka, Liberace style. So I'll see you real soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Great
Bless you all.
work.
Stay healthy.
You too.
Thank you. Thanks, Dennis.
Great morning. Thank you.
Very good.
Bye. Thank you, Dennis.
Wonderful. March